So it looks as though Stadia is very much in gear for 2022. We're starting to get an idea of what's happening in regards to multiple games. We have a few confirmed titles we're going to talk about later in this video. We have one big game set to come to Stadia, and we have some awesome details on it. I have to say, I'm actually very excited for this one. We also have a sighting of Sega supporting Stadia, and I think that could be big. Finally, Stadia shows off something that is extremely significant to Stadia's future, and I want to quickly touch on that subject. Guys, we have a big video here. Make sure you thumbs up so we can get that algorithm cooking. Subscribe for more videos like this so you can keep up with Stadia. Guys, where to start, man? We have so much to cover here. Let's go over essentially the multitude of games in this video by starting with confirmed titles. First name of the game here headed to Stadia that we have not heard about is Zorro the Chronicles. It's a game that released some years ago to some positive user reviews. It's a 3D puzzle platformer. Immediately, the visuals in this game are very colorful. They stand out. The game is set to come March 24th, and so the lineup for March is actually starting to show itself for Stadia, which is awesome. Another confirmed title headed to Stadia now has a time frame as to when it's coming in. Zorro the Chronicles. It's set to come in the summer of 2022 in June. So we're getting some of our first titles here confirmed for the months ahead for Stadia, which is great. The game looks pretty simple and certainly gives me kind of an outright games type of vibe, but it's actually not from them. The combat, I mean, it looks fast-paced, looks fun. We'll see some more gameplay here, I'm sure, in the months ahead. But a game that I really want to talk about, one that has been kind of scarce on details, is Division 2 Heartland. Now, this is the spin-off and free-to-play online game. It has surfaced with some details from a well-known leaker. Of course, this is speculation until it's confirmed, but I do believe this. The game is drawing inspirations essentially from the game Escape from Tarkov. There's going to be two modes. There's going to be an Excursion and Storm. Excursion, I guess, is more of a beginner mode that helps you understand the main portion of the game, which is a Storm mode. But for Excursion, I guess it's like a PvE thing where you can just explore, loot, maybe take the game at like a passive, slow rate to really learn what you're doing. But the bulk of the fun is going to be in that Storm mode. It's described as a PvPvE, where the objective is to scavenge, loot, explore, fight enemies, so that could also be real players as well. Also taking out NPCs. Now, if you survive, you're allowed to extract the loot, so it's very similar to like Division's 2 Dark Zone. There will be this gas that spreads in random locations. You'll have to craft these gas mask filters to survive or escape certain enemies. The similarness from Escape from Tarkov is where you earn power gear and then you take on bigger, challenging things. Part of that, of course, again, like I said, is taking on other players and taking their loot. It's a very, very fascinating game so far. Something, again, that I want to reiterate, it's going to be free to play and you'll be enjoying this one on Stadia. I'm going to be excited for this. Can't wait to see more gameplay, or actually just any gameplay of it. I can tell I'm going to enjoy it so far by just the description. So far, Ubisoft games have also been all releasing with crossplay lately, so I'm definitely expecting that as well. We're going to jump now to a couple games here that are kind of in the speculation category, starting with the Jackbox Party 9, and this is the next iteration in the franchise. The game has yet to be showcased with any gameplay or officially announced for Stadia, but it was officially revealed by the developer. There seems to be a close relationship here with these publishers with Stadia, so a part of me would be very surprised not to see this come to the platform at some point. The game is currently set to come this fall. Finally, the last piece of news on the games front is a very intriguing survival game called Derelicts. Now, the developer of this game has expressed interest in potentially putting the game on Stadia, as seen here right here on Twitter, but also in a live Q&A video. Now, on this tweet, it says, "I'll try to have the game on Stadia in the long run," which is really cool. I would say, guys, tweet back at them yourself, or at least at this individual at Derelicts Game. Let them know your interest, so maybe this game doesn't come too later, but maybe more day and date, because I have to say, a game like this, a post-apocalyptic survival sandbox set to hit alpha later this year, I mean, this is my jam. Now, the story here is years after an ancient and enigmatic mechanism flooded Earth with radiation, you and your team are tasked with investigating the source. So you're going to be doing things like building, crafting, exploring. Gameplay does look good, looks pretty decent. I feel like it has like that Valheim type of potential to blow up. I'd love to see this one on Stadia. One, because I don't like Ark, and I'd love to see a different survival game on Stadia. one that I personally could chomp into. I've always been a fan of survival games, and it's one of my favorite genres. I think this one would easily fit nicely in the Stadia library. With that, guys, we have something that was brought to my attention by a viewer on the channel. If you guys ever find any sort of news of note in regards to Stadia, please hit up the public channels in my Discord and check out my Discord channel. But Christopher sent me this really cool job listing on LinkedIn where Sega is hiring a compliance specialist and is looking for the next generation of games for emerging platforms. But what's interesting here is that it says Stadia and Luna, and both of these are mentioned. Now, we have a few Sega published games. We have Yakuza, Humankind are ones that I know are on the platform, but they also made a recent deal with Xbox for cloud gaming, so I'm not exactly sure what this means. Obviously, though, the link here is you hope to see more Sega titles on Stadia, but I mean, this is a good sign, and it's worth, in my opinion, taking note of and pointing out, in my opinion. Lastly, guys, Stadia tweeted another Stadia dev blog post, and this was interesting. They've now been working on making it easier to test and work on games being ported to Stadia on multiple clients. But the very key here at the end of this Stadia dev blog is that it says, "We have made it easier for developers to develop and certify their games on the same player clients that gamers enjoy, improving the quality of the experience and making it easier to bring content to the platform." Now, something I've been talking about for a while, I mean many months now, is that Stadia has worked on their porting tools for the sole reason to make it easier and make it faster to get games on Stadia. Now, I won't get into the nitty-gritty of how it's being done. I'm going to go ahead and link the dev blog if you guys want more specific explanations on what they're actually doing. But the point is that one of the complaints and issues Stadia has always had since its launch was that, put it simply, it takes work to get a game on Stadia, and working on multiple devices like phones and TVs and across all of them. That costs money for a developer to put that time to make sure it's just working on all cylinders. So thus, it makes potentially harder to convince a publisher or developer to bring their games onto Stadia, because obviously it costs money and you would want Stadia to pony up that money ahead of time, right? Well, now if Stadia can come to the table and say, hey, now our tools make it quicker, it speeds up the process and makes it work even better, at least according to Stadia, that's a good thing, because if you can make this as seamless as possible, Stadia then goes to that publisher or developer XYZ and says, hey guys, it costs barely nothing and almost no effort to get your game onto Stadia. Just go ahead and port that bad boy on. So hopefully outlining all this tells you guys that this is a key to getting a lot more games on Stadia, and I love that they're showcasing this. I think over time you are going to see more games come onto the platform because of things like this. I love that Stadia is pointing these things out. They have been improving Stadia for a while in ways like this, and it has been much needed. We'll see what this all equals in time, though. We'll see if the developers and publishers buy this and are definitely having an easy time. Let me know, guys, though. Either way, your thoughts on all the stuff we talked about in today's video. I'm Sunny, and as always, I'll see you guys in the clouds.